All right, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everybody. All right, we're going to try this again. I know you guys are tired. Good afternoon. I am so thankful for you guys being here. This is going to be a very fun and interactive session. I got you guys for an hour 15. They gave me the distinct honor to make sure you guys stay up after lunch, so I'm going to do my best to do that. So a little bit about me. My name is Rashad Young. I am a school counselor at CBC here in St. Louis. I got my lovely colleagues in the back. I never thought I'd be back in my own high school. It's so weird, right? So a little bit about me outside of this. I'm also a clinical mental health professional. I'm in the process of becoming a therapist. And so this topic, we're working with teenagers, especially Gen Z, like a very unique generation. We got Alpha and Beta, the other ones. We're not going to talk about that this session, but Gen Z are the future leaders of our world, and understanding them is very, very unique. They have their own language. They're struggling with mental health, right? I'm sure you guys have heard about that in different presentations throughout this conference, so you will. So it's really important as LaSallians to take the time to understand everything about them. Not just that they're lazy, or they don't want to do their homework, or they have the hoodie over their head with their headphones blasting, probably playing the saddest music, but really understanding them as individuals. I think why this conference is so important to me, one, just being an alum of CBC and being back at CBC, is that I've taken a very much a personal approach in understanding these kids a lot better. I will admit, before I got with LaSallians, I was with the Jesuits for a second, and I apologize, but that was my introduction into education. I started off as an elementary school teacher here in St. Louis, at St. Louis Public Schools, switched over to St. Louis University as admissions, so I used to work with kids, helping them navigate college, but something was missing. Because when you do admissions, your job is to sell the school. Tell you about the school, how much it costs, but there wasn't a personal connection. And that's really important to me. My colleagues can probably tell you that at my school, I am called the roaming counselor. I am everywhere because my job isn't just to counsel them about college, but it's also to build a relationship with them. I have my own routine. It's so weird. Rather I'm on time for work or late, I do it the same way. I have to go downstairs in the cafeteria and try to greet as many students as I can. This all started, I will have to admit, when I was at a Jesuit middle school in Chicago. And what I learned was that you never know how much a greeting can change a student's entire day. We have busy lives, I get it. We have lives, some of us have kids, we have dogs, things are going left. And obviously in education, every day it's not full of sunshines and rainbows. I get that. I really do. But while we're here, as we all know, as educators, we are called to serve. Rather we want to be here or not, we accepted this call. We didn't have to do this. We could have been lawyers or doctors, but we signed up to be educators because we're here to serve them. So like anything else, this is a LaSallian conference, and I also want to make sure we stay with the foundation from St. John Baptist de La Salle, and this quote, "To touch the hearts of your students is the greatest miracle you can perform." Again, this generation is very unique. And you'd be very surprised at what we can do if we take the time to learn a little bit about them. So I will say, I'm not going to talk up here for 75 minutes. As great as it will be, and as much as I love that, this isn't about me. Everybody in here has a unique gift that they bring to their jobs as educators, whether you're in admissions or administration or counseling or teaching or coaching. So this will be a collaborative effort. Just to give you guys a heads up, as much as I love to talk for 75 minutes, it's not just about me. But all these people coming in here, and they keep coming in here, which is great, which I kind of expected, it's really important that we do collaborate. For those guys that are here or coming in, there should be some note cards in the back. You guys will get that closer to the end, but just kind of keep in mind, we will be doing an activity together. This is going to be a great picture, to build a bridge of the things that we can bring as educators to better our students. So the influence of St. John Baptist de La Salle, again, believing that education is a sacred act. Yes, that is an AI generation picture of myself and him if we were to shake hands. I made that a couple months ago before I grew out my hair, so I couldn't change it. I was a little scared. I'm like, this is the best picture, I'm going to keep that. But the most important thing, it's not just about academic instruction. It's not about that. It's about taking the time to educate ourselves and to educate our kids. Introduce the radical idea of teaching in a language in the context of students. In a second, you guys are going to go through a Generation Z boot camp. An entire boot camp and an experience to really understand this generation. It causes the educators to touch the hearts before the minds of our students. Again, how do we show up for our kids on a daily basis? And his legacy reminds us that the behavior is not only the whole story, but it's part of it. So again, when we see our kids every day, the kids that get on our nerves, the kids we want to just shake kindly, of course. There's so much more to them that we need to understand. So again, today we are here for the whole story. So I will say, I'm a very creative guy at heart. And I think there's a couple of videos that I have that I feel like help us understand where you may be at currently as an educator when it comes to Gen Z. So maybe this speaks out to you. So, wish it was a little bit louder. But the main thing was, and the main thing about this presentation and why it's important to me, I was once that student. My path to becoming an educator was probably not as traditional as others. My original goal was to actually be a pharmacist. I was a sophomore at the University of Missouri, and I did so well that they sent me a letter saying if I didn't get my grades up, I'd have to leave. So my sophomore year, I had a 1.2. I know, right? I know it's bad, right? 1.2, a 1.2 GPA because I finally realized, one, that I was terrible at math and science. I have a teacher at CBC still, Mr. Hank, and I love, hey, if you're here somewhere, that I learned a lot about him in my experience as just understanding LaSalle and education. He originally was an engineer. And I remember we used to spend time after school because I was so terrible at his class that I got a better understanding of what got him into education. I remember I asked him, I said, hey, you made all that money as an engineer. Why would you want to come and be a teacher? And he said, I didn't like my job anymore, that I felt more purpose teaching you all physics, not me. I didn't get it. I didn't know what was going on, right? But I learned a lot about the beauty and the value of education. So when I switched over to education, I learned how beautiful it can be, how much I love talking to people, how much I love interacting with kids, how much it is really a fulfilling job to really connect with them in a way to help them learn and grow. We don't get paid any more or less of our students' achievements. But what is the most fulfilling is when they come back and tell you how much that they appreciate you. I'm going to put him on the spot. Mr. Brockman in the back is one of the reasons why I went to CBC. There was this very charismatic guy that was an alum. When I found out about the school, I said, man, this guy can sell the school great. But now on top of that, everything that he was saying also translated to the school, how the educators cared about us, how they felt about us, and how they believed in us. And to see the same thing now with Mr. Batliner, doing the same thing with admissions says a lot about just how much we care about the school. And also Mr. Ike Walker, you're an alum as well. I won't leave you out. It's important that we continue the traditions to make sure that our kids are good. So, who are Gen Z, right? Who is Gen Z? This is a little tricky to me because I feel like I'm technically Gen Z. It says 97 to 2012. I feel like that's a lie. I feel like 95 to 2012 is better. But I also understand that my first phone wasn't an iPhone. It was a flip phone. Show of hands, you had a flip phone before, right? Okay. Show of hands if you had to use three-way calls to talk to people and they had to continue to extend. And if the call dropped, if somebody hangs up, then the call's over with. We used to have those big back computers, right? The Macs and the floppy disk and all those things, right? These kids don't know what that is. I showed one of our students that a couple weeks ago, because I was just curious. I was putting this presentation together. I was like, do you know what this is? He's like, is that a CD? No. It was to save memory. I used to show them a VCR, and I showed them other things. They had no idea. This is a very technology-driven generation. They have iPhones, iPads. They have cameras like this. This is for my mom, by the way. My mom's not here, so she wanted me to record that. I put that out there. Hey, Mom. She's like, you got to record something. Okay. But this is also one of the most diverse generations, not just with race, but religions, ideas, concepts. And they're mainly motivated through validation. How many times have kids asked you, what do you think about this? And you're like, I don't know. It's okay. But then they ask you again, are you sure? It's because they care about that stuff. And they're digitally connected. So Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Discord, Reddit, I can keep going, right? This is all they know, VR. Anybody seen Ready One Player One, the movie? Okay, that's where the world's going. This is what this generation is about. So as we go through boot camp, and we'll get there in a second, again, these are just examples of how you guys may feel. If you feel this way, raise your hand at the end.
It says here that slay means to achieve excellence. We are all doomed.
Who can resonate with that video? Okay. Or maybe you're more sophisticated and you like podcasts. I know people love podcasts. And maybe you're trying to understand Gen Z a little bit better, so you lead with this.
We have to ask ourselves profoundly, are they simply lazy?
Or are we failing to adapt to their paradigm?
And while this is an AI-generated video, that's a fair question to ask. Are we failing to adapt to their paradigm? Our job as educators is to serve these students. They are the customers. We're just helping them expand the business. Or maybe you got so far as educators where you guys are meeting together and it got to a town hall part and things just go left.
The quantum shuttle trend demands our attention for engagement.
Absolutely not. We are educators, not biomarketers.
But marketing is a part of education now. How many of us as high schools, elementary, we have social media pages for our schools? Okay, so we are becoming marketers. We are adapting to the culture of Gen Z every day. But after this, I promise you, you become enlightened with Gen Z.
The generation of change. You already have the answers inside. See past the noise, and I will guide you.
So, this is what we're here for. This is the whole point of the boot camp. But before we get into the boot camp, as always, again, it's interactive, a quick icebreaker. Talk to your table for about 2 minutes, or people obviously not at tables. Talk to the person next to you. How comfortable are you with Generation Z? And if you can ask one question, Generation Z, what would it be? And break. Yeah. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay, let's come back together. Let's come back together. I love all the conversation. It makes me smile that you're not looking odd at each other. This is great. This is all about. So, who would like to share? Where are they at when it comes to Gen Z? Give me a number, 1 out of 10. Let's hear it. Six. I set myself up for that one. All right, let's disregard that. All right, if you can ask one question, I'll take 5. I know we can all probably got a question. What are the questions that you would love to ask Gen Z? Yes, ma'am.
We talked about the validation a little bit. We understand that as humans, we sometimes need that validation.
Yeah.
But we believe that with Gen Z, there is a constant need for that validation for everything that we do.
Yeah.
As in not being able to believe in yourself or thinking that you're not good enough to complete a good job in anything, and turning in work or maybe even sports.
Yeah.
So just wanting to know why that is.
Why?
Not just simply believe in yourself and think that you are good enough, that the work that you're putting in is enough.
That's a great point. We'll get into that in a second. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I would want to ask them if everybody could either stay or get rid of Snapchat, Instagram, and social media. Would you rather keep social media as is, or would you rather remove it from existence across the board?
It's a good question. I'd rather keep it, but I get it. Who else? Yes, sir.
Who are you?
Who?
Like think about like who are you?
Who are you?
Like deeper than I'm a student.
Yeah.
I play football. Like who are you? And if you don't know, what are you doing to work towards?
Yeah. I'm gonna go here and I got you, Mr. Brockman.
For that same conversation, the question was, what is it that motivates you? Like, what will get you to do the thing that you need to do?
Yes. Motivation matters. Yes, sir.
What will your policy be for your own children with social media?
All those are, wait, I'll take one more. Yes, sir.
Talk about the tethering to technology and what's different in the worldview today than it was for us as students.
I took 6 questions. I got to take one more. 7. Yes, sir.
We are often looking at the differences of that generation. I wonder what they think the differences when they look up. Like anyone who's older than them, are they all one conglomerate generation?
Yeah.
Or do they see differences?
And that's a great point, and we'll get into the comparisons of that generation, this generation with other ones in just a second. So I appreciate that. All right, now the time has come. All right, Gen Z boot camp. You guys cannot leave now. If you want to leave, you could have left 10 minutes ago. It's too late. All right, so what will you gain from this boot camp? You will gain how to spot a student who is over it from 40 feet away. First one. Second, you will learn how to decode Gen Z slang without using IT for help. This next one. The most important one in the serious matter, you'll learn how to tell the difference between lazy and overwhelmed. That does matter. You will learn how to avoid being called an old head in class. The students are now calling me Unc. I just turned 30, okay? They don't even call me Mr. Young anymore. They call me Young. That's all right. I just accept it. And then lastly, and the most important thing, understand our vocational responsibility as LaSallians. So key lessons while in boot camp. See, I have to give you things you'll gain, but also things to remember. You may not use your phone for backup. Gen Z will spot it. Even though they're not here, they will spot it. Second, eye contact is required, even though Gen Z won't return it. Most of the times their heads are down. Number 3, do not take sighs, shrugs, or blank stares personally. It is their default setting. How many times you see a student like, how's your day? They're just like, yeah. I know, it's weird. Sarcasm must be used, but it needs to be used responsibly. When battling with Gen Z, it is an all-out war. When you try to be nice to them, they may say something sarcastically. You cannot take it personal. If you do, you're already lost. And we're going to win today. And we're going to win moving forward. If you cannot explain it in 10 seconds, just try again. And my favorite, do not engage when I was your age stories. When I was your age stories. Please don't. It does not work. I have tried it. I'm like, yeah, 15 years ago, I was a freshman. Oh, okay, well. Then they try to fact check it. Now they're Googling my name. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So, do you even speak Gen Z? So how we're going to do this, because this room is completely filled, the tables are going to be a group, and the rest of you guys just try to find a way to work together. Okay? So it's 2 rounds. We're going to make this about 2.5 minutes. I'm going to let you guys really think about this and marinate, and I will have some answers. So 2.5 minutes, you're going to be first round. But anyways, I got some tips to pass the situation just so we can remember. I did add this on here because I was asking myself, if I don't give you guys tips, would you guys really succeed? Because I struggled with this before I even put it out. First one, if you think Riz is soda, you've already need to remind yourself you'll be stuck in training forever. Because that's not what it means. If you misuse slang like bet and aura, it results in immediate judgment. If you end every text or email with a period, proceed carefully because they might think that you're being serious. Saying I'm hip automatically does not make you hip. Doesn't work. When in doubt, smile, nod, and pretend you understand the slang. It's a safer way. Kids are telling me stuff. I'm just like, yeah, man, I got you. I don't know what that means. I'm just going to act like it. And lastly, my favorite, because it's such a phenomenon, yes, 6'7" means nothing, and no, I cannot tell you. You must learn to struggle to find out like I did. All right, now, 2.5 minutes. This is round 1. Begin. Think of the words. And please do not use your phones. No chat GPT. I'm body of this, I'm not gonna lie to you. All right. How you doing? Yes, please. This may never happen again. About 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. All righty. Round one has officially stopped. I appreciate no phones, I think. I can't really tell for some people. All right, so we're going to do this based off of honor code because I really don't know what you guys know, don't know. So I'm going to accept multiple answers for these concepts. All right, so let's start with bet. Bet can mean okay, cool, or sounds good, or I'm down. Show of hands if that was one of the four you got. All right, there we go. Second, low key. It can mean a little bit, secretly, subtly, or quietly. Show of hands if you got that. Okay, we know a little Gen Z. My favorite, cooked, means destroyed, exhausted, embarrassed, or done for. Show of hands if you got that. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Now, Riz is a little unique, so we're going to keep it in the context of what it probably should mean. So for me, Riz means charisma or smoothness. Show of hands if you got that. Charisma. And then lastly, the students tell me I have this, but I still don't know how, but okay. Aura. The ability to have the vibe that someone gives off without trying. It's like you ooze this energy. Show of hands if you got that. All right. Now for round two, I am going to make it a little more challenging and you get less time. You get a minute and a half starting now. Sides. Yeah, I'm bodying this. I just want to let y'all know, like, I'm bodying this for real. When I get in my zone, I'm in a different place. Oh my God. This is funny. I love this. All right, 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. This is fun. It's a fun time. All right, let's come back. Let's come back together. I feel like that's a song. Let's come back together. I don't know. Yeah, come together. Anyways, all right, round two. Brain rot. I'll be honest with you, this took me a long time to find the answer. So this is what we're gonna roll with. Brain rot is when someone is too deep on one thing, a game, a show, a song, a person, or trend. Show of hands if you got that. All right. Next, a NPC is literally a non-playable character. So picture the Sims. Ratioed. It took me a long time, I'm not gonna lie. It took me a very long time. Ratioed is when someone is trying to get more likes or responses than the person that they're replying to. So like if you're online having beef with somebody, if you get a better reaction than that other person gets, ratioed. Ratio's a bad thing, yeah. All right, Stan is a super fan or someone that obsessively thinks about something or someone. And I'm gonna be honest with you, 6'7", I just don't wanna hear again. So if that was your answer, I'm okay with that, okay? So, thank you guys for completing first part 1 of Gen Z Boot Camp. Give it up for yourself. All right. So, again, why does this matter? When we go back to vocation, understanding their language is a form of a vocation. Yes, it makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. However, taking the time to know what they're thinking and saying gives us an advantage to connect with them in ways that we never think before. So yes, 6'7" is atrociously stupid. But to them, it is everything. It is. So going into their world is really important. Like that's something that I've always taken pride in. Because when you connect with them in a way that when you enter their world, they'll enter yours. It's the best way I'm trying to put it. When you're trying to help them and you build that relationship with them and you understand them and you don't judge them, they're more likely to be more open with you. So we can do our job, which is to help them, which is to serve them. So that matters. So yes, I don't want to hear 6'7" ever again, but I probably will hear it later on today. My nephew will probably call me and do it 100 times over, and I will hang up after the 101st time. But I love him because I get it. So again, going back to how they communicate, they are digital natives. They are literally on their phones all the time. The thing is, though, how can we judge the same group when we do the same thing? Kind of makes no sense when you think about it. Oh, they're lazy. Well, my screen time is god-awful. I know it is. It's atrociously high. If I don't have nothing to do, I'm on YouTube all day. So how can I judge a teenager for doing the same thing? They are big on visual content. Again, going back to that video about schools being digital marketers. That's their world. Their world is 30-second clips. No matter if it's great or not. That's how they receive information. Texting and messaging. Yes, I would love for kids to be more interactive in public speaking like this. Well, the seniors don't know this yet, but all of their psychology class next semester, that's all they're doing, is public speaking. So they're gonna understand that because it's a beauty and a nuance to communication, but how they do communicate is digital. That is their world. We cannot judge a group that was given a device at a young age. Because I'm sure for those who have little kids, that phone, that tablet saves your life sometimes. So we can't get mad at the one thing that we all use as a convenience when we need a break from them. And obviously, again, online communities is important. But what do they value? Authenticity, expression, purpose, and connection. So going back to the question this gentleman asked in the front, understanding who they are, it's hard for them to understand who they are because they live in two different worlds. They have who they see every day and who they see on their phone. But the phone usually wins. That's the thing. But also, I can't judge because I make content myself. I podcast myself. I write books myself. I'm building a brand myself. How can I judge a 15-year-old kid for trying to do the same thing? That is their world. But they do really appreciate authenticity. What I love about this generation so much is that they just try to do everything. 1 minute they want to be a professional football player, next minute they want to be an astronaut. It makes absolutely no sense, but to them it does because they're just throwing ideas at a dartboard. They're just like, oh, okay, well, this guy did it at 17, I can try it too. So who are we to tell them that they can't do that? I mean, we can, but that also creates the problem of the motivation piece. What motivates them is what they feel motivated by. And how many of us as educators have shot down somebody's dream because it didn't make any sense? I know every kid that I talk to every day is not going to go to the league. I know that. But who am I to tell them that it cannot happen? Who am I to not tell them that they can go to a university of their choice? Or they want to be a Twitch streamer? I think sometimes our practicality is the downfall of their growth because we didn't do it, because we didn't try to do that. Again, I'm the same guy right here. I had a 1.2 a sophomore in college. If my mom didn't give me another chance, I'm probably not in this room right now. All because I struggled with anxiety and depression. That was the first time I was introduced to it. I had no idea what it was. I was just sad and anxious all the time. I didn't get it. That is their entire life every day. And I'll show some statistics in a second. Like, it's high. These guys, men and women, they're disconnected. So we have to find a way to keep them connected. So the main question we got to ask ourselves, but this is more of a question just to sit and reflect on, as educators, how can we do a better job of connecting with our kids? What can we do every day to ensure that we're doing our job? Again, we signed up for this. It's not a lot of people online trying to be an educator. When you think about it, a lot of people leave education. The turnover is high. Schools are trying to get teachers or counselors. So every day we sign up for this, we're already here. We might as well try our best and not make an excuse for it. If you don't want to be here, then just don't be here no more. Nobody's holding us hostage in education. Trust me. It's always a door open for us. We all take it if we want to. So we have to keep that in mind. How, as educators, how can we do a better job of connecting with our students? So a couple of things I feel like are important to me, as I've kind of mentioned, is first off, slow down and notice the human first. They're 14, 18, 13, 12. They're still figuring themselves out. They don't know who they are yet. Some of us actually know who we are today. Sometimes I feel like I'm this and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm just as confused. So to put the pressure on a kid is very hard. So again, a couple things we can do. Greet the students. Greet the kids you know. Greet the kids you don't know. But what I learned is that I was going downstairs greeting all the kids I had a good relationship with. And that's fine. But then I started doing it to kids I don't know. And I was like, oh, they all love this idea. Because it's not about, I don't know everybody's name, I don't. At this point, I'm just like, hey, bro, nice to see you. I forget names. But that one simple interaction, again, you just don't know what it does for them. Second thing I think we all can do better with is assume there's a story behind their behavior. Some kids come in your class, head down, I know it gets on your nerves. I know. I got some handfuls as a school counselor. Trust me, every day, I'm just like, you're going to get better one day. At some point, you're going to get there. But as you get a chance to learn more about it, you know about their backstory. We have to keep in mind that sometimes a school can be a safe space, but sometimes it's just an escape from what they're dealing with at home. The nervous system can be discombobulated outside of school. So when they get at school, they're calm. And what do we do when we get calm? We get tired. So yes, there can be some intrinsic motivation that can be better, but do we ask the proper questions of what is making this hard today? Instead of asking, why is the kid like this? And also, again, lastly, build trust through persistence or presence. Again, we sign up for this job. So how we show up for our kids, what we can control, let's try to maximize it. Yes, I get it. We're adults. Life is stressful. I didn't have my coffee. My dog woke up at 4 a.m. I get it. But there's kids that are looking at us every single day. They care about how we show up for them. So now, part 2 of the boot camp. Understanding the mind of Gen Z. Going back to the concept of laziness, laziness becomes a full stop when it should be a question mark. Labels are dangerous. You know what I was always told when I was a kid? I was always told I had tremendous potential. And I do. That's great. But what does that mean? We tell kids that all the time. But do we give them the proper guidance on helping them untap their potential? Or when a kid's a problem child, oh, that's just who they are. What does that mean? Labels are dangerous. It's again, some of the dumbest kids are the ones who end up becoming the most successful. The high school dropouts. We got to give kids the time and grace to understand themselves. Anybody know who Simon Sinek is? Ever heard the name Simon Sinek? Okay. So as I was going through a litany of TED Talks of Gen Z, and I'm a fan of his work, this quote kind of struck a nerve for me. I almost threw away his books. That's how bad it struck a nerve. But it was a fair point. This generation is less equipped to deal with stress versus previous generations. But the question is, how can we label a generation lazy when they're born into convenience? We always say they need to work harder, but again, we're giving kids iPhones before they know how to walk. Convenience. Here you go. You think about it. Instagram. You post a video, a picture, a story. You can immediately get reactions to that, likes. What I used to do when I was struggling with self-esteem as a high schooler is if I didn't get enough likes, I would take it down, then I'll put it back up. The kids are doing the same thing now. How can we label that as a problem when that's all they know? How is that fair to them? They didn't make Instagram. They didn't make Facebook. They didn't make TikTok. They were just born into it. So we have to keep that in mind. Most important thing is that a generation cannot be lazy if they're playing a different game. If the field is different. We're all complaining about ChatGPT, but show of hands if you all use ChatGPT. Okay. We have the question on hypocrisy. Yes, I agree that you should not copy word for word on ChatGPT for a paper. But we use it all the time. I use it for emails all the time. I do. I'm not going to lie. I use it for some of this presentation. I'm not going to lie. Right? So you have to keep that in mind. Yes, does it shrink their ability to critically think? Yes, I agree. Well, removing ChatGPT is not going to be the problem because it's just going to get more advanced. So maybe we do need to shift how we meet our kids. I think one of the greatest things right now is like storytelling. Like everybody's eyes is on me. This is great, right? Love this. I would hate this 15 years ago, but I love it now. We have to do the same thing for our kids. We have to adjust to how they learn. It has to be quicker. I don't know how you do that as a teacher because I don't teach all the time. So that's you guys' thing to figure out. But it is something to consider, okay? But it's the truth, though. Everything is sped up. Who knows the average attention span for a kid today? 8 seconds. That is what? Similar, if not less, than a goldfish. And you expect that kid to sit in a lecture for an hour and a half? Talking about the Constitution, which is great, it's history. But how do we make it more current today? How do we give them the ability to think for themselves? We keep saying they don't read. Well, how many of us in the room actually read? When's the last time we read a book? Oh, that's good, okay. Thought I had a point there. Oh. Well, I love that, that's great. I am in a room full of educators, my bad. Maybe I try another conference. My bad. I was sitting on that one, I was like, yes, no, all right. Point being is that a lot of these kids, they don't read. They learn through videos, right? So how do we meet them? You guys really got me. You guys got me with that. All right, I'm not going to use that one no more. Okay, so, but again, the playing field's different. That's all I'm just trying to say. And you guys keep reading. That's all that matters. Okay. So why is laziness the wrong label? It creates shame. It weakens trust, it stops communication, and it misunderstands the real need. How many times do you try to talk to a kid and you immediately know they shut down? Immediately. As soon as you say something, it doesn't make any sense, they just shut down. Because a lot of these kids have created a avoidant tendency. This is my therapist brain coming in. A lot of these kids are avoidants. They're either very anxious or avoidant, but usually how they deal with conflict is avoidant-like. The one time they do hit a little adversity, yeah, they're gonna run. That's all they know. This is their safe space. Nobody sat there and told them how it can be a problem. We just wait till they're 10, now it's a problem. It's already been given to them. And I love what we're doing with phones in schools. And I'm not just saying that because my colleagues are here, right? It's a beautiful thing that we're trying to find a way to make kids more present. But that should probably start in the beginning. Shouldn't start again in high school. Some kids are doing great. Our kids are doing a great job at CBC. They're doing a great job buying into the idea. And I'm sure you guys, if you're doing it at your schools, are doing the same thing. But some kids are having a hard time. Phone withdrawals are very real. A lot of our kids are struggling with excessive use of dopamine. Every time you scroll, you're getting a hit of dopamine. Every time. So we have to, again, be mindful of how we label our kids. So how do we compare this to other generations? So obviously, every generation has dealt with different things. But I think what makes Gen Z very unique are, one, the volume of anxiety, which I'll talk about. There's a huge loneliness epidemic because they're so connected to their phones. Burnout, most kids are burnt out by the time they're juniors in high school. And then the school pressure, especially with high achieving students. So when you think about education and influence, a lot of us are still telling our kids to go to college. And that is tremendous. I want to make that very clear before I say the next thing, okay? College is a great thing for our kids. Most of us work at college preparatory schools. The question we have to ask ourselves is that, what will college look like for the next 10 years? Is that really sustainable for our kids? I would challenge it's not. Not because college doesn't matter, but the system is shifting. AI is becoming more of a thing. And what we can do from a business perspective is people are going to work smarter, not harder, which means it makes this generation have to work 10 times harder than what we had to do the same job or to get the same look. We want to take it a step further, to afford school. College is expensive. And if you have multiple degrees or student loans, then you can only imagine what it's going to cost them in the next 10 years. And as we know, as I did my short stint in higher ed, that budget gets a little tight, especially when numbers are involved. Everybody still has to be accounted for. Another thing is that there's a stronger desire for non-traditional paths. Trade schools, certifications, streamers, YouTubers. Kids are trying to find a quicker path to get to where they're trying to go, because the traditional route is just being met with more challenges. And it's not necessarily a Gen Z issue, it is a human issue that's happening right now. And I haven't even talked about Generation Alpha or Beta or whatever is coming after that. They're gonna have it way harder than Gen Z, because as we advance with technology, how kids are being marketed for jobs is gonna look a lot different. You know, maybe 20 years ago, a master's degree is a great thing. Now, a master's degree is the baseline for most of us to get jobs. And even some people who got master's degrees are overqualified now for those jobs. I don't know, I might be talking to myself, I don't know. Okay, so we gotta keep that in mind though. We're telling kids to go to school, which is great, I love that. But how are we preparing them to become successful when we also know the truth that it's very hard for people who are already qualified to get a job? How many students have said that? At least the kids that I talk to still, that are currently in college, every job is telling them that they just don't have the experience. Well, how are they gonna have the experience when they're in school? What type of sense does that make? It doesn't. So it's just something to kind of consider. And again, mainly motivated by purpose and relevance. Economic fears, as I mentioned, the return on investment in college, raising housing rates, student loans, debts, crises, right? We've experienced COVID as adults, but only imagine how COVID affected teenagers. Again, things are shifting. And one thing that Gen Z does really well is that they're advocates for safety. Even if it makes no sense to you, or if you don't agree, it's an advocate that that's something that they advocate for. And then lastly, mental health and stress trends. Highest levels of anxiety and stress and compared to other ones. So, and I try to use that statistic very lightly because I kind of keep in mind that other generations before it also dealt with the same thing. It just wasn't normalized as much. Maybe 20, 30 years ago, therapy wasn't normalized. Now, I got a 5-year-old client I see after school. They're in therapy, right? There's more of an advocacy to better their mental health. Like I said, mentioned the academic burnout, again, often in middle or early high school. So we say we want our kids to work hard, and some of them don't, and some do. But it's more of the pressures that they have to deal with. So again, mental health crisis that I like to always emphasize, not just because of just the teenagers we work with, but it just truly is a crisis all over. And it's just a couple of stats I want to express on. So obviously, students really struggling with suicide. That was one of the highest causes among high school kids in 2021. It only increasingly getting higher because, again, of the pressures that they deal with. Obviously, big with screen time. 73% of kids do not get enough sleep. How many kids that come to your school tired? And then they probably get breakfast with donuts. And then they're tired by 9 a.m. 1 in 5 students experience a mental health disorder every year. Are we teaching our kids the proper tools to deal with their struggles? Or again, are we immediately labeling that they have something? And no, I don't think medication always solves every problem. And that's more of my clinician side kicking in. And as you kind of mentioned, good sir, about who are you, they do have an identity crisis. They don't know who they are. Am I Rashad, the school counselor, or am I Rashad, the aspiring YouTuber that likes to do pranks outside of school? Which one really matters more? Whichever one gives me the most notoriety and positive effect. That's what matters most to me. And then social isolation, I think, is really big too. Really pay attention to your students while they're at school. Not just the kids that be in the group of people. Even those kids are often the ones that are struggling with isolation and depression. Don't confuse a group as connected. They're also very disconnected. So, going into another part of the boot camp, and we're almost done. I appreciate you guys still staying here. I know that itis of that barbecue might be kicking in. Every student does carry something. And so before we get to different students, I want to ask you guys a question. I want you guys to go back as teenagers for 2 minutes and answer these 2 questions. When you were a teen, what did adults misunderstand about you and how did that affect you? And how have those experiences being misunderstood shaped you with your perspective with our children today? 2 minutes, go. Not all at once. Almost there. 2 minutes left. Let me see, I got about 20 minutes. Okay. All right, 30 more seconds. All right, let's come back together. Let's come back together. We're almost there, almost done with boot camp. You don't have to share your deepest things, but I am very hopeful that people would like to share some of their thoughts from the question. Anybody want to share? Yes.
feel like the biggest, and I'm only 24, so I'm technically Gen Z. Sorry.
Great. Love that.
I feel like the biggest thing that I heard in high school from my parents and my teachers was you have nothing to be stressed about.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
I struggled in school and was labeled as quit being so lazy, but in actuality it's because I was humiliated to ask for help.
Anybody else?
Only my dad knew how hard to push me. My teachers did not know what I needed. They didn't know how hard to push me.
They didn't ask?
They just didn't get it.
Didn't get it? Appreciate that. I'll take one more. Yes, sir.
So yeah, I'm gonna kind of steal something from JFK in his inaugural speech and kind of flip it. Is,
Great.
you know, I don't know that students think of this question, but it's like, ask not what I can do for my teachers, my parents, my coaches, my whoever it is, my friends. More like, what can I do for them versus what can they all do for me?
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever think about that question.
That's a good point. I like that. So thanks for sharing. Okay, so for the sake of time, because we got about 20 minutes left, I want to make sure you guys have enough energy to check out the beautiful exhibit before the meeting and to get the gooey butter cake that I was told to advertise. We're going to do a real quick perception test. I'm just going to look at a picture, take 10 seconds. Tell me the first thing you think. Maybe not all at once. Raise your hand because I might get overwhelmed. So, all at once, not all at once. Okay, 10 seconds. Take a look at this. Thoughts? No thoughts. Yes, sir. Oh, well, I love it. It was the same time. It was great. Yes.
We forget that it's just a slice of that person's existence, even though it looks like they're happy all the time.
Absolutely. Now you, sir.
Same thing. They tend to only see like the highlight reels and not what real life is actually like. They just see the best stuff.
Yes.
I would push similar to what you said with who are you? What does it mean to be happy? So this idea of I just want to be happy and then the child looking at the picture, like we have no idea if that actually translates to happiness or not, and how aware is the child of what happiness actually looks like to him from that position?
Yes. I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Remove the top left bubble, that is me and all of my friends today. That is a reflection of not just Gen Z. That's all of us who scroll social media and see the things that as teachers we don't have to pay for, the society we don't get access to. That's well beyond Gen Z.
Thank you. You have anything? I saw your hand up a little bit.
Oh, I was just going to say that there's also a disconnect between what their real life experience is and what they're seeing. Like if they're saying, I wish I could live like that, but they don't recognize that the things they're being told to do are with the intention of that end.
Absolutely. No, those are all great points. All right, so next I want to go into this concept. 5 students, 10 seconds. What do you think they're carrying? When I say what I think they're carrying, more so what do you think they're struggling with?
Confidence.
Fear of failure.
Confidence, fear of failure. Belonging, need help. Next.
Anxiety.
Anxiety, depression, pressure,
Burnout.
burnout. That's what I was looking for. Okay, next. Pressure. Sleep deprivation.
Dad vicarious living beyond.
Yes. Parental influence. Absolutely. Next. FOMO. That's the one. Yes. And then the last one, this one. Acceptance. What was the other one? Loneliness. Yes. Uncertainty. Yes. Self-esteem. Yes. So to tie this all back, again, going back to overstimulation, again, they have constant digital input. There's always a social pressure to be on. They're either on or off. FOMO is probably the biggest thing. Highlight reels and the pressure to respond instantly. They're constantly dealing with information over and over. The emotional noise that they deal with internally, the worry, the anxiety, the identity stress, family dynamics, and cultural expectations. It's another one that we often don't talk about, especially as kids are bridging from high school onto college. That conflict that they have of wanting to do something. That was one of the most common themes I dealt with when I was in admissions at SLU. Kid wants to do theater, both their parents are doctors. How does that work? Now the kid has to make a decision away from what is true to them because the parents are the ones that are investing in their future. That is what creates the long-term problems. When we ask about kids being happy, kids will tell you what they enjoy to do all the time. How many of us just steer them in a different direction because we don't think it is good for them to do that? Something to consider. The cognitive overload, and I think I learned this more being actually back at CBC, because we have some of the brightest students in the country. It's a slight brag. Just because they're straight A kids don't mean they don't have problems. Just because their family may come from money doesn't mean they don't have problems. We cannot always view achievement as no problems, or they shouldn't have nothing to worry about because they have straight A's. Maybe they're so afraid of failing, that's why they do well, but it's beating them up on the inside every day. And the real question is, what will they do when they actually hit adversity? Keyword is when, because they will. Are we properly equipping them for that? And obviously, like I mentioned, lack of meaningful rest. So real quick, 30 seconds, reflect on this, a mirror moment. When have I confused a student exhaustion for laziness? When have I, as an educator, mistaken the student's ability based off their reaction? And how have I always showed up present to work? You can talk for about a minute, and then we'll come back. We're almost there. About 5 slides left. All right, let's come back. Let's come back. We got about 10 minutes left, so I'll make sure we get out here on time. Big on that. Anybody like to share a quick thought? No thoughts. Some thoughts. I mean, I haven't used stand-up yet. I can get here, you know. I can use stand-up. Yes.
I mean, so like one thing that I mentioned was that we all as teachers use our backup lesson plans from time to time.
Mhm.
Something happens, your dog was thrown up at 3 in the morning, and now you're exhausted, right? But another thing that I mentioned was that I teach a lot of AP and dual credit classes, and hey, I'm about to assign this paper to you guys. Can it be due in 2 days, or do you guys have a lot of other things going on right now? Would it help if I give you a week instead of 2 days?
Yeah.
And they kind of look at you like, are you actually treating me with respect right now? You know, and then you have less legwork.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Yes.
Incomplete thought that maybe it's not that Gen Z requires us to teach more grit. Maybe it's that society requires more grit than previous generations have experienced in the interconnected technological different.
Right. Yeah. I appreciate that. All right, last stage of the boot camp. We're almost there, I know. I'm feeling it in my system as well. All right, so this is called the overstimulation station. For the sake of time, I am going to speed up this video a lot faster than I originally wanted to. So there's 2 videos that I will be playing. One video will be a video that you guys will watch while the other is playing notifications. Just notifications. I wanted you guys to see something. So I'm going to speed it up. Originally it was 1.5. Crank it up to 1.75. And we're going to listen to it for about a minute. Uh-oh, where did my thing go? We might just be listening to it. Let me see. Where happened? No. You know what? We're just going to listen to it. Yep. Just listen with your spirit. You know, listen with your spirit.
This is the Star Trek Affair, a 4-part series about your digital life and how it's shaping your brain. This first episode is a challenge. Not to entertain you with a test update you probably lost without realizing. Your attention span. Can you stay present for 3 minutes without switching, skipping, or checking your phone? Let's find out. Because we bet you can't do it. That's wrong. If you make it to the end, you'll give your brain something it rarely gets. 3 minutes of uninterrupted presence. That's a gift. And it's a signal that your focus is still yours. Here's how it works. Nothing much happens. Just a person sitting. The waves roll in and out. Again and again. That's it. No dopamine spikes, no plot twists. Just you and stillness. For 3 minutes.
All right. It would be better if you guys seen it, but we're going to adjust. Show of hands if you understood anything that was just said. Great. Oh, phone agrees too. Okay. So the whole point of that idea was to kind of simulate how kids process things daily. Because they're so connected to their phone. Anybody ever had a moment where you're just walking and you feel like you hear your phone buzzing, but it's not buzzing at all? That's essentially how they feel all the time. And again, the speed represents how fast they process things. So you guys have passed because of a technical difficulty. That's all. So I want to end this on a high note. So on the table, there should be some note cards. Should be some note cards on the table, and I think back there's some note cards you need to pass to the lovely people around you. We're going to make this just a little bit more concise for time. 2 things I want you to really do is write down a commitment that you will make as an educator to do better with Gen Z, and write down a barrier that you now understand differently. And then when you guys are all done, I'm trying to figure out how to do this because there's so many of you guys, just leave them at your table. And I will take a picture of what it looks like when it's done. Okay, 2 minutes. So a commitment that you will make and a barrier that you understand differently. A commitment that you'll make as an educator now with Gen Z. Okay, appreciate you guys' reflection. If you need some more time, I'll be here. If you need to write some more. As we close and going back to the vocational sense, there was something that really stuck out to me as I was reflecting on how I kind of want to close this out. And a lot of Gen Z-ers are walking in the dark, right? And so as educators, our job is to pretty much bring a lantern or remember your lantern. And so as we navigate with Gen Z moving forward, let's shift the language. Instead of labeling lazy, let's ask questions. Let's lead with presence over performance. Let's normalize conversations about being overwhelmed. We often say that they're overwhelmed, but we don't talk about it more in depth with them. Let's practice patient pacing. Patience is hard, I know, but it is something that they need. Let's teach restoration, not just compliance. Let's be translators, not just transmitters. You guys went through Gen Z language boot camp. You guys are ready to 6-7 your way to success. And lastly, touch the heart intentionally. Again, as educators, ask yourself, what can you do differently to better connect with your kids? As we close at the end of this boot camp, a reminder, you cannot old school their stress. TikTok isn't a problem. This connection is. Lecturing is challenging. Storytelling isn't. Attention spans aren't short. Competition is high. They're competing in different ways. And then lastly, accountability works best with empathy. It's not label. Let's understand. Let's ask questions. And I thank you guys so much. You guys have passed Gen Z Boot Camp. Have a good one. So again, truly from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you guys taking the time. I was overwhelmed with a lot of emotion. This is my 5th conference this year. I've spoken all over the country about this topic, but this one means a lot to me because my colleagues are here, but also representing my high school and more so the LaSalle mission. Because at the end of the day, we are all here to serve our kids in the best way. And so I kid you not, I was literally overwhelmed as I was meditating this morning. And I just heard so many of my students tell me how proud they are of me because they know just what we do every day. And so hopefully, regardless if it's a presentation or if you're a coach or whatever, that the work that you guys do really does matter, rather you hear it all the time or not. It truly does. So I thank you guys so much. Again, a reminder, exhibition, gooey butter cake, and the Midwest meeting is at 4 o'clock. So thank you guys. You can leave the note cards there too.
All district meetings are at 4, but the Midwest is going to be the first group to take their picture. So we're in the main room on the stage. All the Midwest is right at 4 to take that picture right away.
All right. Thank you guys.